Greetings, everybody. So, before I begin, and by the way, it's only 4:45, and it's that time of year where it starts to get a bit darker, so I may look a bit grayer. But anyway, before I begin, and before I forget, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and all that kind of wonderful stuff, because I do appreciate it. I think everybody says that, and they do appreciate it. So there you go. This week, I was thinking, what can I talk about? I did do another video, but I felt that it wasn't truly right, and I need to well, actually did two. One of them, I thought, no, I can't really share that because I couldn't really share that because it's a bit, yeah, the one I think I need to spruce up, because I've got an idea what I want to talk about. I need to spruce up a bit, but in light of that, I thought I would talk about my favourite operating systems. So, work-wise, I've worked at the beginning of my career in many different flavours of Unix, including Linux. I think it was Red Hat was the common one at the time. And I've worked as a developer in Windows. I've not worked as a developer in macOS. I've used macOS. I almost worked at a company that used Macs for their development, or two actually. I worked at two companies. One of them actually did an interview where I had to write some C++ code, and it was on an old Mac. But yeah, so I've done that. But I've used macOS, I've used Windows, and I've used Linux since so long. It's so it's difficult to remember. I mean, Linux. And Windows from the big, well, not Linux from the beginning. Linux started around 1994, but Windows from, Windows 3.1 upwards. And Mac OS probably from around 2005, I think was the first Mac I had, a Mac Mini. So anyway, 20 years in that and many years in the others. And I can honestly say that I think my favourite all-rounder operating system is Linux. Although that said, each has its own. There's some stuff in Windows I love to run, and there's some stuff in Mac OS I love to run. So, I couldn't live without all three of them. But if I was just to go on and just jump on my computer to do a few things, including some development stuff, and again, not all development, because I do have, Microsoft Studio, not just code, but the actual, I've got the full-fledged version 22, I think it was, I purchased. But if I, so I will do some development on my main Windows machine, but I have a dedicated, and I do have Linux on there as well, by the way, but I've got a dedicated laptop which I've got just Linux on. So yeah, that's my kind of all time. If I was just jumping on, I'm going to move around a second, so I want to take my keys out. Yeah, so if I was to say just jump on the computer, do something, then I will tend to jump on my Dell laptop, which is just a Linux machine. I removed Windows off there and put Linux on because that's what I wanted it for. That's the machine that I wanted just to be dedicated to Linux, because that replaced my old ThinkPad, whatever it's called. Yeah, move over there. Get achy fingers on my phone. I really need a stand. But yeah, so all three are great, but I think my favourite one is Linux, because the thing is, it's so customizable, and there's so many different variants. So I was running Ubuntu for a long time. I started with Slackware years ago, and that was my go-to. And I've had SUSE before it was even OpenSUSE, SUSE, because I purchased it back then, and I had Red Hat, Fedora, Slackware, and the very first one, the CD, which began with a Y. I can never pronounce it because it's a really weird name. And then multiple versions of Slackware, by the way, because they come on CDs. And then I've run Ubuntu quite a lot because it's nice for just out of the box setting up development stuff. And then the latest on my new laptop, I've got Mint, which is a variant really of Ubuntu, and it's just so customizable. You can customize the OS very easily and just change it to your own. I'm not saying you can't do that on other machines and other OSs. I've never really looked into them and detailed enough, but with Linux, it's just so easy to do. And it's kind of the days where you have to do everything with console. Most of it you can do from the UI, although I still have my terminal open and obviously do a lot from that. But yeah, it's a really simple, easy OS to use these days. Really simple to install. And yeah, if you're not wanting to say run the latest greatest games, because you can run some games on Linux, but if you're not wanting to run latest greatest games, then it's a really great OS. And that's my personal favorite, my personal opinion. I do use all three, and Linux is my favorite out of the three, although macOS, I love using the tools on there, and it's a Unix sort of underneath BSD, I think, is it? And then obviously Windows for running games and other things. But yeah, all three are great, but my go-to is always Linux. So what about you? What's your favorite OS? What do you use all the time? Do you only use Windows? Do you only use macOS? Do you use Linux? Do you use all three or none of them at all? Let me know. Oh, and there's been a few variants, by the way, through the years of OSs. Back in the day, there was one which was a replacement for DOS, which was it OS2 or something? I can't remember now off the top of my head. But yeah, there's been a few there. I used DOS for quite a while as well, by the way. So yeah, if you've got a favourite, let me know, and just leave a comment below. Right, I'm going to go for now. I'll speak to you all next week. Bye for now.